Welcome to Alignment First, where we're on a mission to bring leaders back to their peace, presence, and power. And I am jamming today with Anna Redmond, founder of BRAAV and AllCoin, bringing a time-honored tradition to the digital age. Shout out to Chris Kluver. He brought us together, and I couldn't be more pleased with this connection because I find what you've built and what you're building in terms of taking the challenge coin tradition that we find amongst the armed services and public servants and bringing it to the digital age and into corporate culture is absolutely a game changer when we've never been so isolated and so connected simultaneously. So first and foremost, thanks for making the time to be here.
Thanks so much for having me. I've been excited about this all day and long.
Before we get into like the origin of BRAAV and all of that, let's jump to the coins.
Sure.
What was the impetus for this concept and recognizing the opportunity and or the challenge in taking this analog tradition and making it digital?
Thank you for asking. So I have to go back a little bit and start at the beginning, which is that I, in 2020, having gone to Harvard, got a degree in economics, went to work in venture capital, worked at a couple of different hedge funds, started a completely different company, more aligned with thought leadership, suddenly decided that I wanted to go into private security. And everyone around me was sort of like skeptical. Needless to say, they were like, you have no background. You are not a first responder. You don't know any first responders. You're not a veteran. You don't know any veterans. How exactly will this work? But I became really convinced that I understood the customer side problem. So I'll say a lot of people who build within private security come from the supply side, right? They've served. They've fulfilled the security portion of the equation. I felt like I really had a solid grasp from talking to a ton of people, doing my research on the buy side. And I was convinced that there was a product market mismatch and that there was an opportunity to go and innovate and build a security apparatus specifically tailored for the HR community, for building and property managers, for people who really were running into security problems, kind of had it under their domain, but didn't feel equipped to solve them and needed a fractional, quick, smart solution. And so when we launched BRAAV, it was with a vision to use tech and to use fractional fulfillment systems to deliver chief security officers into those types of environments. So like mid-sized companies, property managers of commercial buildings. And that was what we launched with. And the journey getting there was fun. And I did a ton of like stuff that was totally out of my comfort zone. I got my guard card in the state of California because I wanted to understand that process. I took a ton of not a ton. People have really taken a ton of classes. For me, I took a ton of classes like geared towards security guards, towards homeowners interested in self-defense that I would have never thought to take. In that process, right? In the process of going from knowing zero to now being so fortunate and honestly so honored to count a lot of first responders and veterans and active duty service members among my close friends, close advisors, they began to give me challenge coins. And the first time it happened, I was like, how cool, but what is it? Like, tell me more. What is this thing?
Is this currency? Can I spend it?
Where do I send it?
I'm going to pause your story really quick. Do you have like zero military or first responder affiliation whatsoever coming into this?
Yeah, quite literally zero.
Really?
Yeah. And I, you know,
no Greatest Generation, no Vietnam, nothing in your family tree,
well,
or
I
within arm's reach, I should
you'd
say.
have to go back to, I mean, if you went back to World War II, yes, but
Okay.
we immigrated from the Ukraine when I was a kid, so
Okay.
that, you know, that's like Red Army. So I had family serving in the Red Army, defeating the Germans.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, not at
Holy
all.
smokes! Wow. So, what was your? Because a lot of civilians in my lived experience are taken aback, honored, so appreciative when somebody bestows upon them a challenge coin. And those moments are so like quick and flash in the pan, and then it's over. I don't think we on the service member side of the house do a great job of explaining or driving home the significance of transactions, the wrong word, but this moment.
Yeah.
Right. And you think it's cool, but from our perspective, what we saw in you or are recognizing in this moment, I think could be brought to the surface so much better as to, oh my gosh, like this really means something, because whether I knew it or not, I earned it.
Yeah. No, you're spot on. And I think that for some of the coins, once I started to research it, I had a sense, right? I had a sense for the gravitas. Probably one of the best examples I've seen this done well with civilians is my husband's a member of a local YPO chapter, Young Presidents Organization, and they had an event completely coincidentally, unrelated. I took no part in planning or orchestrating it, but it was like basically shoot guns with Navy SEALs and learn about what they do type of event. Went down to San Diego. And the group was run by Jimmy May, who's fantastic, and I've since been in touch with him and have sort of shared what I'm building. But they went ahead, ran the whole day. I think there were, I want to say like somewhere between 30 and 40 participants, maybe a little bit higher. And at the end of the day, they talked about challenge coins, and then they did something awesome, which is they didn't give one to every single person.
Ooh. FOMO all day long. Yes, there is 100% something to that.
And I loved it. And I was like, man, this is so new for the YPO crowd, because you show up to an event and you're like, where's my champagne? Where's my goodie bag? Everyone gets a goodie bag. I want 2 goodie bags. I need one for my kid. Like, you know, it's sort of more is more. And this one, I literally think through that group, they maybe handed out 4 coins, right? Or maybe 5, but it was a very low number. And they did it in front of the whole crowd and sort of called up each person, had a little narrative of like why you've earned it.
Yeah.
And literally the only reason I got one is because I think I sucked the most at shooting. And then I made some measure of progress, but relative to where I started, it seemed meaningful. And I've gone shooting multiple times, but every time I go, it's like a huge gap, and then I sort of have to relearn everything.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, it felt incredible. And this was after we'd started building the platform. So I had mentioned it to them. I don't know if that played a role or not. Potentially it did. But that was the first time that I had actually seen and witnessed sort of a challenge coin ceremony with that level of sort of gravitas. Yeah. And I went home and I was just beaming, and my husband did not get a coin. I did. And I told him, I was like, you can hold it if you want.
What's cool about that is the exclusivity of it all. Especially, this is what I find, and Let me know if this is relatable coming out of the Ivy Leagues.
Yep.
In that, I tried to explain this to somebody the other day, and it didn't land. So I'm hoping that it lands here. As you achieve certain levels in life, you inherently reset the baseline, right? And when you're on the outside looking in on the in group, whether it's going to Harvard or becoming a Marine or making the team, right? They all think, what a magnificent achievement. But on the inside, everybody's the same.
Yeah.
So now if you're the dumbest kid at Harvard, you're still the dumbest kid. You know what I mean? If you're the least capable Marine, from the outside looking in, you're still a Marine.
Yep.
But amongst Marines, that means something totally different. Right? And so the whole concept of the challenge coin in its essence is you really got to deserve it. In the eyes of the person giving it to you. And in organizations like I don't know if this is indicative of YPO, but if that container is everybody wins a prize by virtue of being on the team, well, then the prizes essentially lose their significance because everybody gets one.
I totally agree with you. I feel like there aren't enough, just in life in general, there isn't enough stuff that you get that's truly earned, right? I think we've made so many things either easy to attain or just kind of spread out. And then it's interesting what you think of this. I feel like the flip of this is also true, that a lot of consequences have sort of been softened.
Sure.
And so if you're kind of, this is veering us in a totally different direction, but I'm going to say it because this, I heard this the other day. I was listening to a podcast about addiction.
Okay.
And the point, I'm going to do a bad job summarizing it, but the point that they made is the reason there's more addiction today, and of all kinds, right? Like shopping addiction, gambling addiction. They talked about like women with like romance novel addiction, is because we don't have that big differential, right? Like everyone gets a prize and then the consequences are kind of soft and fluffy. And so you're looking for that hit that takes you back and forth.
Right.
And her weird, this psychologist's weird advice was like, go do something. I mean, you obviously, like anyone that served does this all the time. So it's like the choir, but it was like, go do something hard, go do something that sucks, go do something that hurts, whether physically or just discomfort wise.
We have deferred the rites of passage that came along with so many of these things. And now those opportunities are so few and far between and or rare that to become a Marine or achieve the Ivy League, it almost seems out of reach. And the preparation or the process to attain those things seems so hard and out of routine. And if we're going to acknowledge the fact that as human beings, we are not outside the food chain, we are indeed animals at the most basic level. We are, I heard it said, discomfort adverse exponentially more than we are comfort seeking.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. That's so true.
So when you defer, when you relieve the pressure valve that comes with these rites of passage and acquiesce to everybody getting a prize, you inherently, one of the unintended consequences of all of that is a less resilient society.
Yeah.
Right.
Like and it's a hard thing to ask for too. It's like,
yeah, make it hard, please.
Yeah, I went to a gym the other day, and they were like advertising the personal training, and I did a session. And they sort of noted at the end, they were like, yeah, and then you tell us like what style you want. Like some people will say I need someone to like yell and scream at me. Other people don't like that. And I'm like, man, it's probably hard to say like don't be nice to me, but I'm paying you, right? Because
I spent 25 years in that world. I get it.
Yeah.
Well, and the other side of that, again, because those rites of passage become less and less and fewer and further in between, people think they want, like the way I used to preface it post active duty was, I can be your best friend or I can be a drill sergeant.
Yeah.
Which would you prefer? And people think they want the drill sergeant. And then
they're like, wait, this is not.
You give them that action and they're like, oh, no. This is like so far away from what I thought I wanted. And we have to back off.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting, when my wife and I got together, my best friend from the Marine Corps married her cousin, and we met at their wedding. And when we moved in together and bought our house, I've got this man cave that has all kinds of wild shit, weapons from Africa and a K-bar knife and a Viking horn mug thing. And
that's awesome.
Chess sets from here, there, and everywhere. And it's all stuff that was earned in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, how cool.
And can't be replaced. I can't just go buy another of 90% of this shit. You know what I mean? And that is what makes challenge coins special.
Yeah.
Because once we leave each other's company, or you're on to the next unit, the chances of that coin resurfacing or, it coming back around are slim to none.
Yeah.
So I think the rarity and whatever rite of passage that was accomplished to get it is really and truly what makes it special. So I love the fact even with an organization held in the esteem of YPO, the SEALs held that standard and said, nope, not everybody gets a prize.
Yeah. And no one complained.
Of course not.
Of course not. I thought that was interesting because people know deep down inside, they're like, yeah, that was nicely done.
Yeah. I think a lot of these decisions, I mean, not to get on a societal soapbox, but I think a lot of these decisions are made from the mountaintop, right? To have endured whatever you've endured to build BRAAV. And from where you are now in hindsight, if you knew you had to take if you knew that every single one of those steps to make it successful was required of you at the beginning, would you have done it?
Oh, it's such a great question. 100%. And I'll tell you, it's funny. Just yesterday,
I'm gonna throw a wrench in that really quick.
Okay.
If you knew all that was required and you didn't know you were going to end up where you are.
See, that's a better reframing. Yeah. But I'm still answering the same way because I have to tell you, I was talking to my advisor yesterday and I was updating her. We've had an amazing week on top of an amazing month on top of an amazing 3 months because, we launched our beta 2.5 months ago. we're onboarding users, we have paying clients, we have a list of organizations that are going to get on the platform. We've had our challenge coins distributed at conferences, war games organizer uses them. We have I'm so proud of our list of early adopters. It's phenomenal. Like in my wildest dreams, I don't think I would have hoped for this. But the thing that I told her is I was like, man, Ashley, if I hadn't built something that didn't work, I wouldn't know the difference of the feeling. I'm like, we are flying. We're taxiing down the runway, ready for takeoff. It is so different to have built something that is desirable, and I can see the difference. And if you had told me this when I was building stuff that was failing, because I've built stuff that failed, and every time I was like, man, I'm so smart. I had such a smart idea. People are stupid. Why aren't they using it? And now I get why, I would say failure is important, but it was kind of like parroting a talking point. Like we're all supposed to say, yeah, failure is important. But no one wants failure.
Right.
But now I'm like, my God, it actually was important. This is crazy.
Tell me about, as you're moving through that story, what is the failure that is like front and center in your mind? If I hadn't had this experience, I wouldn't appreciate what BRAAV has become.
Oh man. Well, early days of BRAAV, we experimented with a couple different variants of tech-enabled services. And, we built a different variant of a guard app that I think wasn't bad, but it didn't quite land. And I just remember the early conversations around it were you learn the difference between someone being nice to you because they know you, versus someone actually wanting something that you've built.
Say more.
So I had a lot of conversations around that. And then we built another tool, which by the way, I think is really valuable, helping families build emergency plans for their families, which we may come back to. It's possible the core idea was interesting, but just the way we built it was dumb. But I couldn't get people to test it for free. And I was like, I mean, maybe I was selling it wrong too. Like there's that whole package, like maybe it was the messaging. But I'll tell you, early days of the Coin app, I had people like really eager to jump on the advisory board. I had people calling me back, texting me on the weekends if stuff didn't work, rather than just being frustrated and giving up. I was getting calls and emails and messages of like, hey, I really am excited to upload my coins, but this is the screen I'm getting, or like, I can't even log in. So the number of follow-ups that I had from people early days, I've just never had that before. And, you dive into something, blindfolded. And for this in particular, not my space, not my industry, sort of my adopted people, I will say, because I'm just so in love with the ethos truly of the veteran and first responder community. I think that the population at large would do well to learn a lot of lessons from this community. But again, not like a native member of this community. So there were so many places where this could have gone wrong. And it's, we're in a really fantastic spot.
That's awesome. Well, and I'll tell you, because this is good. I'm in a group called The Post. Shout out to Christian Ponder. And the whole point of the group is high level athletes in another life that have become executives and entrepreneurs. Okay. And they hosted a summit last fall, and what I experienced were conversations that sounded so familiar. And it took me a long day, a lot of conversations, and a couple of drinks to finally figure it out. I was like, oh, they're all talking about the same shit that veterans are talking about. Right? Like now the sport, I haven't found my tribe since I got done playing sport. I don't know where my people are outside the uniform. I have to rebuild my identity from scratch. All the scaffolding that supported my greatness and made me awesome at this one thing is now gone.
Yeah.
And it was built over a lot of time. What do I do now? And the difference between that container and what I've experienced, particularly in like the nonprofit space with the noblest of intentions in the veteran community, everybody's looking at that challenge from a place of, well, at least I have these superpowers that that I'm able to transcend from my athletic career. Let's go do this thing. Versus that really tough transitional period coming in the veteran community, in which let's fix what's broken first and then get to being productive. And I was like, why can't we as veterans skip that part and just lean into our superpowers?
Yeah.
As a community.
Yeah.
The way that I'm watching these athletes who seem to have very similar
issues,
challenges. What's the difference? And I'm like, so I see what I noticed in our conversation when you showed me the coins, the part that jumped out to me the most is the story behind the coins.
Absolutely.
This is why this coin was made. This is the operation that it represents. This is the unit and what they did that makes this coin memorable. And that's the part in the giving of the coin. Hey, you did something cool, special, above and beyond. Awesome. Thank you. Take this coin. We recognize you. We see you. We appreciate you. And then poof, it goes and sits on the shelf. But the story behind that thing, it just adds a layer. And it's like, oh, yeah, it makes it that much more sticky.
No, 100%. And I think we really see ourselves as a vehicle for preserving the stories, right? And so, just as a quick summary for the listeners, there are really two ways that you can interact with AllCoin. You can take your physical coins and you can scan them, and then you can display them there, and you get a dedicated page, and you can share that on your LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever. And anyone like Michael, if you share that link, I can go and see all of your coins and click and kind of read any stories that you've memorialized. The other half of it is for issuers. So for minters of coins, whether you're a fire station or a police chief or a nonprofit or a security company or a military unit, you can mint a physical coin and a digital twin at the same time. And the digital twin goes on the blockchain, which we describe as like digital cement. So it's effectively secure. It has perfect provenance, and the important details of the coin, like the name of the person that gave it to you, what's the meaning behind the coin, what's the date, what's the transfer history, right? Like, did they give you a new coin, or did someone regift a coin, and why? All of that is on the blockchain, including any media that the coin issuer wants to include. And we've had really meaningful coins already set up on our platform with media that tells a tremendous story. And the best example of that is a police detective whose partner was his wife, and she was injured in the line of duty, was shot. Thank God survived, but had very, very meaningful injuries and paralysis. He took that experience and he started a company, and he built a company developing training devices to teach police officers to react to shootings better. And it's an eStim device that goes on your arm. I think he may have a leg version that he's created, and it feels terrible. And I know that because I tried it against my better judgment. I don't really know what I was thinking. But he made a coin specifically to sort of award to people that are able to go through his training and his system is leveled 1, 2, 3, 4. I tapped out at level 3. I was like, this is it was very not good. But at level 4, which is what he insists, he's like, if I'm ever training police officers, they have to be able to do it at level 4. If they can't do it at level 4, maybe this is the wrong job for them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, so he developed, and I sort of assisted in the background, a coin that he will hand out to people that are able to do it at a level 4. And it has
that's cool.
and everything at the number 4. But because we have this amazing digital coin that we were able to help him develop, he input a video which shows, people using the device. It shows him telling his story. And then he added additional media of pictures of him and his wife, right? I mean, the coin and the full story of it. So if you're just, he may not have time to retell that whole story every time. Obviously, it's on his website. But if he's training or he's at a conference or a trade show and someone just walks by his booth and is like, hey, can I try it out? And then they scan to get the digital coin, that person will go home and be like, oh, wow, that's what this is. That's the story. That's the meaning behind it. So that's, there's tremendous excitement that we're able to be there to help preserve and tell those stories.
What was the epiphany behind the digital transformation of this whole thing? Like, why did you see a need to take this digital?
I think, so I'd gotten a handful of coins, was so fortunate to have folks that saw something in me and wanted to gift them to me. And as I was getting coins, I also started asking, right? Tell me about your coins. Where did they come from? What are the stories? What are some cool ones? And I was overwhelmed with the depth. Every single person that I asked had a coin story. Every single story was meaningful. Some were meaningful in big dramatic ways. Others were sad, right? There are coins that commemorated lives lost. Others were just emotional. Then there were stories of like the moment that someone saw something in me and like made it a point. I talked to people who were like, this coin I actually carry with me all the time, even though it happened, 10 or 15 or 20 years ago. And I began to think, gosh, like the stuff that's important, the thing that's important about the coin, like it's hard, right? It's hard. You're playing with it. It feels good in your hand. But it's not the metal, it's the meaning, right? It's the story. And it occurred to me, by the time I started hearing people, point to a challenge coin wall behind them and say, gosh, this coin is super special, but I can't remember the last name of the man that gave it to me. Or I wish I could remember the date that this happened. I think it was in this month, but I'm not sure. I was like, geez, like it's so fragile. Like it's a heavy metal thing, but fundamentally it's fragile because it's only as durable as the person that's able to repeat the story. And then the whole other layer is like, gosh, you look at Korean War, Vietnam War veterans, World War II, the ones that are left. When we were researching this platform and starting to build, we talked to some of them and they said, when I die, my grandchildren will have no clue what these are. They may throw them. Right. And there's this profound sadness that these moments that I would argue are the best of humanity. Right.
Yeah.
Like that's what, like, it's not the news headlines of like, this person hates this person and everyone's terrible. Like this is what we should be reading and preserving. So all of that was sort of percolating. I'm fortunate to have a tech background. And so I had the benefit of also knowing about blockchain technology and how it worked and what the opportunities there were, and specifically how the art world had been using blockchain in ways very similarly to what we're doing with challenge coins. And honestly, we threw up a sort of spaghetti at the wall, very fast alpha that I think was built in, I want to say probably less than a month. And now with AI, if I was starting today, it would have been built maybe faster. And we were like, let's see what people say. And it's so clunky and this doesn't work and this stuff's broken. And the response was just overwhelming. And I recruited a couple of my early advisors for this project just off of that alpha. I had people actually want to start using it right away. And we had a few folks using it, even though I told them, I was like, we're going to transition to something better. Just hold your horses, but we'll preserve your accounts. So yeah, so it, I think then it felt like it was this living thing outside of me. And I was just sort of scurrying as fast as I could to bring it to life.
What I find interesting about you being the vessel for this mission is how your lack of affiliation with the community plays to your favor, in that the spectacle of this tradition, the novelty of it, is so magnanimous to you. Whereas when you're part of the club, it's really easy to take it for granted. It's just what we do, right? Oh, you owe me a drink. Where's your coin? It's just it's part of the gig. Whereas, I mean, you're in the club now, but once upon a time when you were on the outside,
I appreciate it.
When you were on the outside looking in, it was like, that's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And I want to know more about that. And I think what I'm experiencing in you in this conversation and what I've seen is you're bringing that to the forefront and and also pulling it out of the in-group as well, and creating a deeper appreciation for this tradition that may or may not have become taken for granted.
Yeah, and I'll add one more layer, which I think is really an important part of it to me. I want to build something that civilians will look at also, and that will let them have deeper engagements and better conversations with veterans and with service members. Because I can't tell you how many times I heard people say, like, my spouse doesn't want my coins on the wall, or like they're cluttering up, right? They're cluttering up the room, or my kids are little and they love to play with these things, but I want to transmit all of the stories.
I got to tell you, the bottom shelf of, my crazy memorabilia, is littered with coins, and my kids come in. I'll take a picture of it and I'll show it to you. My kids come in and like, Dad, what's that one? Or what's that one? And it brings me a lot of joy because, one, I love the storytelling. It's super fun, but also it stirs up things that I haven't thought about in decades. Yeah. And it's like, oh shit, I remember there's a funny story behind that one. Let me tell you about Lieutenant so-and-so or Lance Court, whatever. We were on this mission when I got that, And, or a veteran that there was an AFSOC doc who was a member at our gym. And when we shut down, he was like, dude, this has been such a spectacular part of my life. I made these for my unit and I want you to have one.
Wow.
And it's like, that meant so much in this season of my life. It's like, oh, like that carried so much significance because those moments are so few and far between nowadays, and so to create a platform for not only the memory but the storytelling to take place, it's so cool. It's so cool.
And it I think from where I'm sitting, I like that it gives me a jumping off point to engage, because I'll tell you, a lot of civilians, and I was definitely in this category, was like, I want to know, right? I really want to know about your lived experience. The parts that were like fun and great, but also there are a lot of parts that are
not
traumatic, right? Or in between, right? You don't have to go all the way to trauma.
Oh
like
yeah.
just like tough, right? But you know, there's a real lack of knowledge of like how do you open that conversation? How do you ask? And on the subject of veteran mental health,
Yeah.
I had a lot of conversations with people about how beneficial it is to have a space where people can not only post their coins, but tell their stories, but engage. And veterans primarily were excited and interested, like, gosh, if I find the other people that have this same coin and the coin was minted in the aftermath of something sad or hard, you know, there's that group that you can reach out to and say, oh, you know, how are you feeling? Like, do you
The
remember
network.
what
Yeah.
happened
Oh
20
my gosh. Yes. Yeah.
um,
On that note, I introduced you to Josh Otero and everything that he's doing with Alana.
yeah,
And
awesome.
his veteran mental health advocacy through gaming, I'm pumped to see what you guys are able to collaborate on, because it just seemed, after our first conversation, I've known Josh forever. Shout out to him, Alana, and Warrior Gamer. It just seemed like a match made in heaven. I'm like, oh yeah, this
Fantastic.
is
We had a fantastic conversation. Sounds like he's fundraising, and we'll be in touch as soon as he pushes through
that
chunk of it. But yeah, there's so much overlap. And you know, and I'll kind of come back to and close the loop on the civilian piece of it.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a fear of asking something that you're not supposed to ask. And
Yeah,
if you have
tell me more.
well, you know, like I'll just blurt it out, right? Like the question you're told you're never supposed to ask is, have you killed anyone? Obviously, right? Like that's not appropriate. But then there's like, well, what else can't you ask?
Right.
But are there things that people maybe would share with you or that they want to share? And there's not a way that civilians intuitively know how to engage in those conversations. But the coin is so easy, right? You can always ask, tell me about your coin.
Right.
How did you get this coin? And then that sort of starts to pull the thread. And so one of the ways that I actually learned a ton about my advisors is through the coin conversations.
Okay.
And, you know, one of my advisors, Will Rays, who's actually an active duty Navy SEAL in charge of special warfare recruiting, who, by the way, like he's always been so open and so kind and candid. I think he's never told me that I've asked an impertinent or inappropriate question. But we had a conversation about, like, was there ever a time that someone did something for you that you wish you had a coin to give them? I didn't know what I was expecting to hear, but he told me about a time when literally someone almost killed him, and a gentleman that he was working with saw that, noted it, and told him, and saved his life. And I was like, wow. I mean, how intense.
Right.
And I think a sniper was aiming at him was the narrative.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know how, in what universe I would have gotten to that question or felt comfortable even asking it.
You're bringing this memory to the forefront. When we were in FOB Edinburgh, like, if there was a moment that was coin worthy and there was no coin, we were running UAV operations in country, and we were supporting a unit that was in contact with enemy combatants, and the bird that we had on station was running low fuel, and by the time a new UAV could get on station, this thing was going to crash. So we use our emergency procedures try to condense that blank space as much as possible. And on the way home, it crashes, and on its return route, it's supposed to crash and burn right outside our forward operating base. And the only thing that's between us and the enemy is a 20-foot pile of dirt. Okay.
Oh my God.
But we got to go recover this asset, right? Can't just let it sit out there. So me and Corporal Cummins, my intelligence Marine, suit up, Kevlar on, rack around, and it's like, I got you and you got me.
Wow.
Let's go figure this out. And thankfully it had nothing. It went without incident. I mean, I got a chemical burn from jet fuel dripping down my back, but aside from that, it went as well as it could have gone. And yet,
God, amazing.
With the nerves, the unknown, I mean, like, are we going to do this thing? Is it going to be on as soon as we come over the top, or are we going to encounter nothing? And without just thinking about it, it makes it like, it was so normal at the time. And as I'm thinking about it 15 years later, it's like, holy shit, that was wild. Yeah. Like, he asked no questions. Aye, sir. Let's, okay. And as I'm thinking about it, I need to reach out to him. I think he's a photographer in Oregon now. Wow. But like let's
make a coin commemorating that on our platform and send it to him.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah. But before I get too,
I haven't thought about that in forever. So thank you for.
That's what an intense story. Can I just ask you, what did that feel like in the moment when you were like, you're going over and you have no clue? I mean, really, you didn't. Your life was at risk, right?
I remember. I remember looking at it from a perspective of, being a lieutenant and being the officer in charge of my detachment on this outpost, and still recognizing who the real subject matter expert is in this unit. Yes, I'm ultimately responsible for the success or failure of our missions. And at the same time, Staff Sergeant Frakes and De Leon, like, they are far more experienced on this platform in the conduct of these missions than I'll ever be. I was an augment lieutenant to this unit, meaning I'm only here for this deployment, and then I'm going back to air traffic control. And with that train of thought, I was like, if we lose me, the mission goes on.
Wow.
If we lose one of them, there's going to be a lot of questions and gaps that need to be filled.
Wow.
And at the same time, we need another Marine to provide security to go get this damn bird. So there's only 3 of us in the tent, and it was like, hey, Cummins, you're coming with me. So
was it, sorry, maybe I'm missing the joke. Was it literally rock, paper?
No. But it was like, hey, what,
But you just were like, oh, I picked this person.
We're all mission capable.
Yeah.
Either I'm going to choose, or one of you is going to volunteer.
Did you chose?
And it was really like, as you're asking me to like remember.
Yeah.
I just remember looking at both of them, and the body language of Cummins was, hey, sir, this is what we signed up for.
Wow.
And I was like, and Jesus, I can't even remember who the other Marine was, but like the I'm so in tune with energetics now. Like the energy of Cummins was like, yeah, I want that guy, you know. And so yeah, the decision matrix is so much less like who's better trained on a weapon system or who's seen this before. It was like, I'm gonna go because there's less detriment to the mission if we lose me, and there's only 3 of us, and 2 of us, one of us is already selected. So who's coming with me? You know, and that's kind of that's what it was in that moment. God, I haven't thought about that shit.
Can I just tell you what an incredible, incredible story and an incredible mindset. Like this is actually part of why I wanted to build this. I think that most Americans don't understand how many people are there ready to put mission over their own lives. And my God, like, thank you for that. Thank you to everyone. But I just have to tell you, like, barring my children, I think I can't imagine myself like you're describing it and you're laughing and like my palms are sweating. Like I feel very nervous just hearing about this. I would be like, that hill? How about that one? Like, no.
It's one of those it's one of those things, and you have to you've been around us,
sure, and I'm always amazed like that
long enough now. I think that the stakes are so fucking high in those experiences, and you see this in the first responder community for Absolutely. Sure.
Yeah,
the humor in these circles is so socially unacceptable.
Yes, I've noticed. I think it's reined in for me for sure. But
it's like you can't tell that joke outside this room. Like, like we can't laugh when we tell this story to the general public. We can't laugh, you know. But I think because the stakes are so high, it's so much less a defense mechanism and so much more a necessity. Like I can either look at this situation in the here and now and in hindsight as a tragedy or a comedy.
Right.
And you know, if I'm going to choose which perspective I'd rather have, there's so much humor in that shit. I mean, the fact that we and the story I just told took 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not talking about we were out there alone and unafraid for days, and you know, it was so not that. I mean, the fact that
12 minutes is a long time. I have to
I mean, time slows down for sure. But you know, the fact that the biggest takeaway from the experience is some faded tattoos and a chemical burn from jet fuel leaking down into my camis. It's like you have to laugh.
Yeah.
You know? And it was like one of those things. You ever seen it like in the movies where like you that person's on fire, but all you can see is the smoke, and then all of a sudden it's like this crazy 5-second stop, drop, and roll type scenario. That's what it was like. It was like, damn, why is my back itching? Like, oh shit, this really burns. Like, oh shit, sir, like you've got gasoline leaking down your pants. Like, we gotta get to
oh gosh.
And so yeah, I mean, if that's all that comes of it, you know, it's like compared to what could have happened, sure. Like that shit's funny.
Sure. Yeah, I think hearing stories like this just puts so much stuff in perspective for me. It also just like helps me understand the different level setting of like what's alarming versus not. So early BRAAV days, when I was taking a bunch of classes, there was a class that I did where they did some scenarios and self-defense stuff, but long story short, I didn't know that they'd be doing this, but they ended up using a shock knife in some of them. Do you know what that is?
No, tell me.
Really? It is what it sounds like. It's like an electrified knife.
In the Marine Corps, I'm what they call a pogue, a profession other than grunt. Okay. So
Love
like if that's a thing in our community, like I would be the furthest from that experience in my training.
Well, I think it's probably I don't know that you would be using it in the military. It was like a self-defense thing, but the story isn't that. It's the fact that it didn't feel great. And the first time they did it, I was like not enthusiastic about it. And I remember coming up to the instructor because they were running other scenarios, and the guy was I think also a former Navy SEAL. And I was like, I was like, oh my gosh, are you using that thing again in the next one? And I was very concerned. And he was so annoyed. And he was like, just sit down and go do the next. Like, he didn't even want to humor me with a response.
Wow.
And at the time I was like, man, that customer service is nuts. But now hearing your story, I mean, like, yeah, sure. If you have to like spend 12 minutes potentially dying and with jet fuel running down your back, and then some lady is like complaining about a shock knife, then you're kind of like, get over it. And maybe that's what I needed at that moment.
I mean, it would be real easy in the aftermath of experiences like that to move through the world with a chip on your shoulder and like looking at everybody through the lens of, look, it could be worse.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I feel like that's such a disservice to people that want to understand, and we mess that up. Our hubris that it comes as an unintentional byproduct of some of these experiences that not so much put us on a pedestal, but at the same time, you can create this narrative that my experience is unrelatable and you'll never understand no matter how many stories I tell. Right. And that's so not true. Right. It would be really hard to, bridge the gap between empathetically where you would truly understand what those 12 minutes was like.
Yeah.
And still, it doesn't dismiss or discount your willingness and desire to try to understand.
Yeah.
And I think, I know that right there is to be celebrated. And when those opportunities present themselves to, set and setting, taken into context, taken into consideration, when those opportunities present themselves, like, it's our responsibility to sit still and share those stories, because it's just like these coins, those opportunities are also few and far between, where somebody is genuinely curious enough to sit through the whole thing and not get so twisted in their own discomfort that they run away from it, which happens sometimes. Like, I didn't ask for all that. It was like, but you asked,
I really love that perspective. I think it's a very nice perspective, and I think it speaks a lot to who you are. I think that, I think about this a lot, this element of like sharing and listening. And one of the projects that's, super early stages, but we have a couple of nonprofits really interested in jumping on board, is I'd love to actually get high school students interviewing older veterans and digitizing their coins, because you have, the Korea, Vietnam era veterans probably will have a challenge taking a photo of their coin, putting it in our platform. But to your point of like being able to communicate those stories, I feel like it would be amazing to have high school students hear them, right? Because they would gain an appreciation, not just for the living history of it, and that's real too, but also for this, honestly, like the depth of the sacrifices that have been made for this country on their behalf, on the behalf of all of us, which depending on where you live, I'm in California, Southern California. It's just not really part of the conversation in school. And I think that's unfortunate.
Yeah. My there's a fraternity, sorority. I don't know what the gender agnostic version of those two terms is, but say again.
Social club.
Sure. Yeah. There's a social club that comes with this experience, and what comes with that. My kids have 5 real aunts and uncles, but they have so many uncles that they're not related to.
That's amazing.
that come by the house and stop through on their way here, there, and everywhere. And it's like we sit outside, and we got a fire pit in the back, and we just tell all these stories. And my kids are just like,
they love it.
And that, in the aftermath of those visits, we'll be sitting at the dinner table, and I'm like, Dad, tell us the story about Uncle Cheese. And when what's the word they use? When Uncle Beef crashed out. Tell us that story again. And it's like the things that they remember from literally a 2-hour interaction with an old pal of mine. It's like we tell those stories with such reverence and enthusiasm and humor. I love everything that you're doing, because you've created a container at the very least to attempt to capture that. And I for what it's worth, on behalf of all of us, I'm grateful for what you're doing.
So kind of you to say. Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to, like the more stories we collect, the more memories I think we preserve. And I'd like to think that there will be children and grandchildren that really benefit from this, and are able to go and retrieve these memories, and recollect them better than they do just hearing the story and remembering wisps and fragments of it.
Gosh, Anna, you're absolutely amazing. I'm so grateful for you. Where can everybody go get their coins and see these stories?
I'm so glad you asked. Okay, so allcoin.braav.co, right below my name on the screen, is where you would go. I do have to tell you the site is gated right now, so it'll say that there's a wait list. If you mention Next Level HQ, I will take you off the wait list right away. And you can hop on the site and you can upload coins. And uploading your coins is always free. Creating community, friending people. I think we just redid our messaging app on the site, so that should be working even better than it did before. All of that is always free of charge. If you are interested in being a minter, a creator of a digital coin, that is gated right now. You need to apply. There's a fee for that. If you're an exceptional nonprofit doing really stellar work, talk to me. We have a couple of slots available for complimentary digital coins. And then if you're interested in a physical coin with a digital twin, we have partner vendors and we can take care of that from start to finish. And I always forget to say this. If you find something that is not working or something that you hate, or you know how we should be doing it better, it's a beta. I think it's pretty darn good. It will be way better in 3 months, way better in 6 months. My email is anna@braav.co. Reach out to me with that, or honestly for anything. Would love to hear from anyone. And I think that's about it.
You're absolutely incredible. Thanks for making the time. And for everybody out there on a mission to be the fittest leader, it starts with integrity, courage, and ownership. And it's all laid on the foundation of alignment first. Head over to nextlevelhq.co for all things next level, this podcast, this conversation on aligned leadership, and join our leaders forum. It's free, and this conversation permeates that entire platform. Until next time, guys, alignment first.
Thanks so much.